Virtual 11 is the 11th studio album by British heavy metal band Iron Maiden, released on March 23, 1998. It was the second and final Iron Maiden album recorded with vocalist Blaze Bayley. Background: Virtual 11's title tied in with two extra musical events, the release of the band's computer game, Ed Hunter, and the fact that the 1998 FIFA World Cup would be taking place in June of that year. Harris explains, "We figure our fans are pretty much the same as we are, with pretty much the same interests, so we thought, it's World Cup year in '98. Let's get the football involved in the new album. And we were already working on a computer game at that time, so we thought, well, let's bring that element into things too." Prior to the album's release, the band organized a publicity tour in which they held football matches across Europe with guest musicians and pro footballers from the UK. While most of the artwork in the album's booklet was taken from the Ed Hunter game, the cover was created by Melvin Grant. According to Grant, he was asked to design something related to virtual reality, but was later asked to alter the artwork by adding a football game, the band then having decided to link the release with the World Cup. For this album some keyboard parts were performed by band founder bassist Steve Harris, whereas on previous albums all the keyboard parts had been handled by Harris bass technician, Michael Kenny. As with their previous world tour, several US shows on the Virtual 11 World Tour had to be cancelled as Bayley had vocal issues, although the official reason was instead that he was suffering from a severe allergic reaction to pollen. This would be the second and final studio album to feature Blaze Bayley. In February 1999, the band had announced that Bruce Dickinson and Adrian Smith, who left in 1993 and 1990 respectively, would be returning to the lineup, and Bayley was asked to leave the group. Songs: stylistically, Bayley states that Virtual 11 was a more upbeat album, in comparison to its predecessor, because we'd survived the X Factor. We were a band and, I felt, we were on our way. According to Harris, Futurial, whose lyrics were written by Bayley, is about being locked up in virtual reality, and describes it as a quite straightforward rocker but done Maiden style. The album's second single, manager Rod Smallwood claims that he had a bit of a battle with Steve over releasing Futurial instead of The Angel and the Gambler as the album's lead single, but Steve put his foot down. According to Harris, The Angel and the Gambler is the story of these two characters, one guy who's been a bit of a rogue, a fly-by-night, and an angel who gets sent down to try and put him right except he isn't having it. Of the album's remaining songs, Lightning Strikes Twice is, according to Harris, a never say never type song. It's a very positive, hopeful song which you can read in lots of different ways. The Klansman was inspired by the film Braveheart, which Harris states is about what it's like to belong to a community that you try and build up and then you have to fight to stop having it taken away from you. Speaking about When Two Worlds Collide, Harris says that lyrically, I think Blaze was trying to write about the different sort of worlds he's lived in and maybe about how his world has had to change and adapt to the world of being Iron Maiden's singer. The Educated Fool is, according to Harris, about growing older and everyone expecting you to be wiser, but how somehow the older you get and the more you know, the less you have the answers for any of it. Don't Look to the Eyes of a Stranger is inspired by Steve Harris' observation, from a parent's point of view, that every stranger is a possible threat, while Como Este Amigos is a tribute to the soldiers on both sides in the Falklands War and is notable for being the first time an Iron Maiden album's closing track was not written by Steve Harris. After Bruce Dickinson rejoined the band, Iron Maiden continued to play both Futurial and The Klansman in concert. While Futurial was only performed live in 1999, The Klansman appeared in the group's setlists until 2003. Live versions of both songs with Dickinson on vocals can be found on the Wicker Man single and the Rock in Rio album respectively, while that same live version of The Klansman was later re-released on Iron Maiden's 2011 compilation CD From Fear to Eternity. Blaze Bayley recorded solo versions of Futurial and When Two Worlds Collide on his live album As Live As It Gets. The track The Klansman was sampled by singer Brandy in her song I Tried. Critical reception: Virtual 11 was met with mixed reviews from critics. AllMusic commented that on the surface, there's nothing terribly wrong with the record, as it delivers all the crunching riffs and demonic horror of their best records. The problem is that there's nothing memorable about the hooks, riffs, or songs, and there's little visceral energy to the music or production. As a result, it sounds lifeless to all but the most devoted fan. They also stated that Blaze Bayley is a competent but faceless vocalist. Sputnik Music were more positive towards the album, claiming that it has a few gems, such as Futurial, The Klansman, and Como Este Amigos, but is very repetitive, and listening to it takes a lot of patience. Track listing, personnel, production and performance credits are adapted from the album liner notes. Iron Maiden, Steve Harris, a Euro bass guitar, producer, mixing, keyboards on The Klansman, Angel and the Gambler, and Don't Look to the Eyes of a Stranger, Blaze Bayley, a Euro lead vocals, Dave Murray, a Euro guitars, Janik Gers, a Euro guitars, Nico McBrain, a Euro drums. Additional musicians, Michael Kenny, a Euro keyboards on all tracks except The Klansman, Angel and the Gambler, and Don't Look to the Eyes of a Stranger. Production, Nigel Green, a Euro producer, engineer, mixing, Mick McKenna, a Euro assistant engineer, Simon Hayworth, a Euro mastering, Melvin Grant, a Euro sleeve illustration, synthetic dimensions, a Euro sleeve design, 3D imagery, Simon Fowler, a Euro photography, George China, a Euro photography, Ross Huffina, a Euro photography, Rod Smallwood, a Euro management, Mercury Adiza, a Euro management, Andy Tylora, a Euro management. Chart performance. References